Yeah.
Next week. Okay, inshallah. Now we will start now, inshallah. Okay, Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Good evening again to you.
Okay.
Um, okay, inshallah, we will discuss the part four. So it is easy. In part four is about the quality improvement tools, the tools that we have taken throughout the curriculum. The first tool is the flowcharts, and it is always considered the first tool originally. And you use it when you come to do any investigation for any problem. The flowchart is a pictorial representation displaying all steps in a process and their interrelationships, used to display the sequence of steps in a process. It is what I use in order to do the visualization for the process. If I want to improve a process, even if the process does not yet exist, and I want to make a vision for it in order to improve it, it's still the first thing I always use is the flow chart, which I use to draw how this process will proceed, what the steps of the process will be. The importance is the first step in FEMIA and RCA because it is considered a process mapping technique. I will draw the steps of the process that I have step by step. So in this process, in the flow chart, we will notice that the flow chart's start and end are always in the oval. So I will start and I will write and inside the oval. The rest of the steps are in rectangular shape, like a rectangle. If a step contain a decision, we take yes or no. And it will be in what shape? So this is in diamond shape. Okay. So we took them before. So here is the oval, the rectangle, and the diamond shape. We are going to explore one of the most impactful tools in lean management, value stream mapping, or VSM for short. Let's start with the definition. Value stream mapping is essentially a tool or method that helps us look for the bigger picture of any process. Think of it as bird's eye view and shows every step involved in delivering a product or service, all the way from the supplier to to the customer. The main goal to analyze the current state of the process and design a future state that's more efficient and delivers value seamlessly. Now, why is this important? Well, here's the reality. Every process, no matter how good, has room for improvement. This will help us identify waste, whether it is delays, unnecessary steps, or inefficiencies. Once we spot these issues, we can work on optimizing the flow of value so that the customer gets what they need faster, better, and with less waste. Let's look at the diagram. On the far left, we have the supplier. Okay, the starting point of our process. So the work then moves through a series of process steps, like step one, step two, and so on. So for each step, we have two key measures, the process time and the wait time. When we say the process time, the time that it takes to complete the step, while the wait time, the time that work sits idle before moving forward. The data box at each step provides the critical information like cycle times, resource usage, or any other relevant metrics. This data is crucial because it allows us to zero in on where the bottlenecks or inefficiencies might be hiding. And on the far right on the map, we see the customer, the ultimate focus of all this effort. The idea is to ensure the smoothest, most value driven path from the supplier to the customer. So, why should you care about VSM? It's simple. By using this tool, we're able to align our processes with our goals. It helps us cut out what does not add value, streamline what does, and ultimately deliver better results. In summary, VSM or the value stream map is more than just a diagram. It's a strategy to continuously improve how we work and how we serve our customers. By focusing on the flow of value, we can transform not just individual processes, but the entire systems. Clear, Radha?
Yes.
I also have something else. So like the Cphq diagram, which is considered process mapping in the case that you are working on a certain project. We said before that there is the identify phase, the design phase, and the develop phase. In the develop phase, we draw the Cphq diagram. We explain it and said that the and the inputs suppliers and inputs, which are the data I will work on processing in order to turn them into outputs, okay, which are the deliverables. So the process that I will be working on itself, I will do what? A flow chart inside the Cphq diagram, and the output will then go to the customers. We give an example and said, for instance, if I have a supplier here, okay, the doctor, he will give me an input, which is the prescription. And this prescription I will work on as a process of medication dispensing. I will process it in the dispensing process, meaning pharmacist dispensing until it is released from me. So in the end, the output will be medical, meaning the medicine. So the medicines are the output that will go to the customer, whether they take it offline or online, or the medical, I can control it. So this Cphq diagram also includes a flow chart. So after we have made the process and created the process steps, we might ask what are the problems that might come from each step of the process? Or there might be a problem that has already happened and we do analysis for it. We also want to do brainstorming to identify the problems that occurred in each step of the process. It is a technique for collecting ideas from a group because it encourages creative thinking and generates a large number of potential solutions. So participants are freely share their ideas without judgment. All ideas are recorded. The goal is quantity over quality initially. Brainstorming is the habit I will use to do idea generation or to create ideas. The tip in brainstorming is collecting ideas. I gather the ideas as much as I can. I do not discuss the idea, nor do I sit and evaluate them, saying these ideas are bad and these ideas are good. Nor do I decide whether I will take these ideas or not. I focus on ensuring the first ideas are recorded. So my goal is quantity, not quality, because to collect the highest number of ideas. The overall value is not about saying this idea is good or not good. That is something for later. In brainstorming, I encourage every team member to participate with me and gather as many ideas as possible, and the ideas are recorded. Now, if the idea or problem we are discussing is controversial, okay, it means it is a subject of debate, a subject of discussion. If we sit and talk about it, one person says their opinion and there are differences, we will never finish. In this case, I will do individual brainstorming, meaning each team member will get a piece of paper and be told, collect all your ideas from me or write down your ideas and suggestions on this paper. Then all of you submit your papers to me, and I will read the papers and then discuss each idea one by one without agreeing on whose idea it is or whose opinion it is. This is called, okay, this is called what? The nominal group process or technique. It is for collecting ideas and is considered individual brainstorming, especially if the problem is controversial. Clear? Any question?
Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Hi,
Mm.
Doc Gulam. Good
Assalamu
evening.
alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Now, we want to meet together in an action meeting and we agree whether online or we want to gather information. We do the study and we send the questionnaire data by email and you all respond to it. And this is called the Delphi technique. So the Delphi technique is used when members are in different locations. Okay. And we want to do cold data collection and collect ideas. All right. I have done brainstorming and collect a very large number of ideas. Now I need to categorize or rank them and organize them. I will use the affinity diagram. When I have a large amounts of data into logical groupings, and I want to do ranking or categorization to organize them and put similar ideas together. For example, ideas related to HR, to training, process, billing, and empower. The ideas related to HR go under HR, and ideas related to training go under training. Ideas related to products go under products and so on. So the affinity diagram is used after we collect many ideas, and I often use it after brainstorming to do ranking or categorization. Let's talk about a simple yet powerful tool for brainstorming and organizing ideas. We call it the lotus diagram. The lotus diagram is designed to expand thinking around a single topic. Think of it as a structured way to break down big ideas into smaller and manageable parts. It helps you dig deeper into a subject by connecting related concepts and ensuring nothing important is overlooked. This tool is often this tool is often used to organize outputs from brainstorming sessions. Imagine you are working with a team and throwing around ideas. The lotus diagram brings structure to that chaos. By organizing your ideas visually, it makes it easier to see relationships, prioritize thoughts, and move forward with clarity. Now let's break down on how it works. At the center of the diagram, you'll find your main topic. So this is the core focus. Surrounding it, you have boxes for related ideas. Each of these ideas can then be expanded further in their own surrounding boxes, just like petals around a lotus flower. This step by step approach is similar to creating an affinity diagram, but it is more visual and interactive. Yellow could signify main ideas. Green, blue, and red could represent subcategories that branch off from those main ideas. This color coding helps us to quickly identify and group concepts, making it a fantastic tool for collaboration. So how can I display these causes and ideas? I display them using the cause and effect diagram, also known as Ishikawa or fishbone diagram. It displays the relationship between an effect and all possible causes. Usually, the cause and effect diagram is used after what? After using the hmm, flow chart. I then
Such.
use the cause and effect diagram after having done what? Brainstorming and identify the causes of problems. That means I use this tool to display and show the relationship between the effects and the causes. I will use it to show the causes of the problem I have. There is also categorization involved. Categorization of these problems. For example, we usually categorize them using the 6 M's or the 3 M's. So the 3 M's could be, for example, machines, okay, manpower, and materials.
Non money machine.
Yes. So Or depending on the case, we could add even the environment. Okay, we could even add procedures, technology, people, patients, meaning we list here the categories that form the fishbone structure. I place the categories I want, and from here, I add the items I have collected or the causes of the problems I have. At the head of the fish, we write the problem in the form of a question. If you remember when we talk about the cause and effect diagram, we said that after we identify the problem and organize the team, we then move to the clarity process step. In the clarify process step, we said that first we create a flow chart. And after that, we infer causes. Infer causes means we display the causes on what? Through the fishbone diagram. Clear?
Clear.
Clear. I also have the interrelationship diagram. And I use the interrelation diagram when there is a cause and effect relationship and the relationship between them is a bit complex. This is used for complex problems like the shape in front, uh, where I have many relationships between the causes of the problems. So this helps the team understand relationships among issues within a process to determine the strength of relationship between issues. So what do I use? The interrelationship diagram. So in here, I write all the problems and start analyzing which problem leads to other problems. So, for example, here we have people enter the area from two directions simultaneously. So, this leads to another issue, okay, which is a traffic jam in the last 15 months. You can see the arrow here from A to G, okay. Another example is no assigned drop off area. So this leads to another issue and another issue and another issue. So each problem leads to other problems. So I start understanding which problem is causing other problems. To represent the cause and effect, I draw arrows indicating the cause leading to the effect. After drawing these arrows and linking all the causes of the problems, I go to each main problem and write down the number of arrows. Okay, so we have out, meaning how many problems this issue has caused. Again, out. This means how many problems this issue has caused. What about the in? This means how many other problems have led to this issue. So we have an example here. If a problem has four in, okay, four in and one out. Heavy volume in the last 15 minutes before school starts. It means this problem was caused by four other problems, but has only led to one problem. Okay? So where this arrow is going. Again, if a problem has four in and one out, heavy volume in last 15 minutes before school starts. So it means this problem was caused by four other problems. So which are people enter the area from two directions simultaneously. Another problem is no staff to direct the traffic. Okay, which one is here? No assigned drop-off area. Okay, and kids take too long to exit cars. So these are the four other problems, okay, that caused by this heavy volume in the last 15 minutes. Okay, understood? For example, again, if a problem has zero in, okay, zero in and five out, no staff to direct the traffic. It means this problem was not caused by anything else, but it has led to five other issues, like where the arrow pointing, the arrow is pointing outwards, right? So we have the people enter the area from two directions simultaneously, and there is no, okay, assigned drop off area. Okay, what else? The other root cause. We have the kids walk in front of cars. Oh no, I'm sorry. Going outward. Okay,
Yes.
here. So we have people enter the area from two directions simultaneously, and people are unaware of the traffic rules, and kids take too long to exit cars. What else? Kids walk in front of
Kids walk
cars.
in front of the house.
Yes, and heavy volume in last 15 minutes before school starts. So this is the meaning of 0 in and 5 out. It means this problem was not caused by anything else, but it has led to other 5 issues. This means it is the root cause, the main driver of all problems. So I can use the interrelationship diagram to find the root cause of the problems. If I count the number of out arrows, the problem with the most out arrows is the root cause. 5 out, meaning this problem has caused 5 other problems. 3 out means this problem has caused 3 other problems. 2 out, and so on. So the problem with the most out arrows is the root cause. All right. We haven't seen many questions about the interrelationship diagram, but we consider it as a tool used to identify the root cause. So the root cause is the issue with the highest number of outgoing arrows, meaning it is considered the main driver and the root cause of the problem. Clear?
Okay.
The 5 whys analysis is by asking why 5 times to identify the root cause of the problem. Ask why, then again why. Repeat it 3 more times. This is done to identify the root cause, and we all call it a simple tool. Identify the root causes of the problems. Now I want to ask about the problems I have when I move to prioritization, which means I determine the priority of the problems I will work on solving first. First method we have is the multi-voting. Multi-voting is a tool also used for prioritization, a technique used to prioritize a long list of possibilities or alternatives. The goal is to move a team toward consensus and identify the critical few ideas because this determines which ideas the group will focus on for further action. For example, if you have a lot of ideas and you want to prioritize them, or you have many problems and you want to prioritize them, we start by giving each one a vote. How many points should we give this problem? So, for example, give it 10 points. How many points should we give this idea? Give another idea 20 points. Another idea gets a different score, and so on. We vote to narrow down the number of ideas. For instance, if we have 50 ideas or 50 problems, we reduce them down to a smaller number. Then we vote multiple times until we narrow it down to the smallest number possible to work on. That way, we identify the critical issues. For example, if we reduce 50 problems to 5, okay, we can further narrow them down and focus on only the most critical ones. So this is multi-voting. The second method is the prioritization matrix. You determine certain priorities and look at the problems you have. You determine these priorities. The ones you will give priority to, you give them a certain percentage. Frequency. How many times does this repeat? And this how many times? And this how many times? Okay? And this is the importance or the significance. Okay, the feasibility. anything, we might change the priority. I might say, for example, hardware design. I might say process. I might say software. I might say online strategic plan, meaning according to the priority I have. I determine my priorities and I place the problems or I do the prioritization. But I can use the problems or the solutions. I can also put the solutions I have and see what I want to prioritize, the thing I will work on. And this is the most important thing, gathering the priorities. And I want something like, for example, here in the problem, the highest point is the long waiting times. And the high priority, this is what I will start with first. And this is the major problem that I will use to make my prioritization. And this is the prioritization matrix. All right, so the priority matrix, do you get it? Any question regarding this? Moving on, the priority matrix is where you display the problems or solutions based on their impact on the organization and the effort needed for implementation. So, for example, I'll show the relationship between we have here the effort and the impact. But it doesn't always have to be effort and impact. It can be something else too. Like here, for instance, it's showing the impact and feasibility. Instead, okay, so let's take a look here. The impact on the organization or the impact of the proposed solutions is ranked. Okay. The most impactful solution are placed on the top. Okay, place on the top. Okay, and next, and the least impactful one are at the bottom. Then you look at effort and the resources. Okay. How much effort do you need to implement the solution? The ones that require the low effort here, okay, are on the left, and the ones that require high effort are on the right. Now let's take a look at the example. There's something called the quick wins, which are solutions that take low effort and low resources. They don't cost much, but they have a high impact on the organization. So that's where you put the solution that won't take a lot of effort, but will make a big difference in solving the problem. So you list this in quick wins under low effort, high impact. So, how you prioritize solutions in the matrix? The most important thing is high impact. That's what we care about first, the high impact. Next, you look at the high impact solution that require the high effort. These are the big projects that come after the quick wins. Then you have the solutions that take the low effort but also have the low impact. These aren't really a priority because they don't make much of a difference. How this question might show up in the exam. The exam might ask you about a priority matrix comparing the impact and feasibility. So, what does feasibility mean? How likely it is that we can successfully implement this solution? If feasibility is high, okay, if the feasibility is high, so meaning that means implementation will be easier. What should you choose based on feasibility? The higher the feasibility, okay, the higher the feasibility, the easier it is to implement. If feasibility is high, then the condition doesn't require much effort. The difference between this effort and feasibility, if we're talking about effort, we are looking for the low effort, okay, here, and high impact. And high impact. But if we are talking about feasibility, we are looking for high feasibility and high impact solutions. How the question might change in an exam. If they replace feasibility with risk, what should you look for? You look for solutions that have low risk. If they replace feasibility with cost, what do you look for? You go for low cost. How to order solutions in the priority matrix? First priority is the high impact. First priority is the high impact, okay, and high feasibility. These are your top solutions, your first priority. The second priority is high impact and low feasibility, because these are also important, but they need more resources and effort. What about for the third priority? Low impact and high feasibility. These are easy to implement but don't make much of a difference, so they are not a high priority. How the question might be asked. The exam might give you a table with different solutions and ask which one should you work on first. The first thing you go for is always high impact and high feasibility. Then you move to high impact and low feasibility. I repeat, the exam might give you a table with different solutions and ask which one should you work on first. The first thing you go for is always the high impact and high
High feasibility.
feasibility. Then you move to high impact and low
Low feasibility.
feasibility. Always remember this one. If the matrix compares the impact versus the effort, okay, first you choose the high impact and low effort. Second, you go high impact and high effort. Again, if the matrix compares impact versus effort, first, you choose high impact and high effort. Okay? Clear. So that's the difference between the two types of matrices. Question. Okay, just remember those Q questions and words. This came out with me during my exam also. Okay, let's proceed. Also in research and programs, we said that 80% of problems come from the 20% of causes. So if I solve the 20% of causes, I will create a positive impact on the 80%. These 20% are what we call the vital few, and 80% are the trivial many. Okay? I have some tools that I use as proactive methods, which are failure process analysis to identify potential failures. And we had said that this is the failure method, and it is used that I can identify the potential failures and their potential effects. Now the driver diagram. This is a tool that I use to present the relationship between the goal or aim I have and the primary drivers. Have the primary drivers that will help me achieve this goal, as well as the secondary drivers and the change ideas or outputs that I will track or analyze. So for example, I write here the goal or aim I want, such as reduce patient no-show for new medicine from 70% to 100%. Now, what are the primary drivers that will help me implement this? So we have the reliable process to ensure patient attendance and education and awareness and policy for patient no show. Now for the secondary drivers, ensuring clinicians are engaged with patients, providing patient education, and staff members supporting policy procedures. And then release the change outputs, okay, which are the changes that will take place based on all these drivers. For example, ensuring consistent improvement on patients receiving education and providing educational resources. Now let's talk about the PDPC, which is the Process Decision Program Chart. This Process Decision Program Chart, or PDPC, is a combination of the flow chart and the fishbone diagram. Its purpose is to identify potential problems or risks in the process, so it is considered a proactive tool that I can use when I need to identify potential problems in advance. So, for example, we list here the plan, okay, possible problems that might arise, and preventive actions and solutions for those problems. So, what makes PDPC unique is that it allows you to plan for solutions and problems within the same diagram. You write the plan, identify the potential problems that might occur, and list solutions within the same chart. So, the PDPC is distinct because it combines solutions and problems in one place. In the force field analysis, we had mentioned in team management that when we conduct a force field analysis, we have two forces. So we have the driving forces and the restraining forces. And the force field analysis can be used in evaluation. So where do I use it? So what is written here? The driving forces and the restraining forces, as I've said, I can use it in project evaluation. So you might get a question asking, how can you evaluate the success of a project? It could give you two forces or a field force, and you have to use them. I check the driving forces. I check the restraining forces. I evaluate which force has a higher strength and impact. If the driving forces have the highest strength, it means the project is strongly driven and has momentum. If the restraining forces are stronger, it means the project is facing major obstacles. Then I determine the driving forces I have, the restraining forces I have, and I set an action plan to reduce these restraining forces and increase the driving forces. The checklist tool is used as a memory jogger to track tasks. So I use it to create a checklist. I compare the tasks and mark them off because it helps in tracking progress. That's the checklist. For the Gantt chart is a project planning tool for developing schedules, displaying individual parts of a quality improvement process as bars on a horizontal time scale. It is used to track project improvements. It visualizes the project timeline, okay, dependencies and progress as at a glance. The Gantt chart looks like this. So you write the required tasks in the list. We have the task 1, task 2, task 3. Then you assign the time frames. For the task 1 is from March 3 to 7, and the task 2 from March 7 to 14, 10 to 14, and then task 3, and so on. The Gantt chart is used to track the process of a project. So, for example, if a specific task is supposed to be completely by March 28th, okay, so I check the March 28th. Has it been completed or not? So, what it is used for? It's used for tracking project progress. Okay, clear the Gantt chart? All right, so next we have the storyboard. The storyboard is the last tool we're going to talk about. It's a visual display of the team and pertinent data, information, analysis, and decisions made during the improvement process. It is used to present results. It's a visual display, meaning it shows more images than text. Basically, it's like a short story, a quick snapshot that summarizes things visually using minimal words and images. For example, it tells where we were and where we are now. It compares last year's percentage with this year's percentage. It uses short clips, tools, charts, diagrams, graphs, matrices, and other visual methods to effectively communicate the achievement story. All right, so we are done now. Now let's just wrap things up with a quick conclusion. First is to pick the right tool to tackle the problem and combine the tools and best practices for a complete approach. And most importantly, when solving any problem, you need to identify the problem. What exactly are you trying to fix? Second would be follow a step by step process to solve it. Third is use the cause chart to pinpoint the root causes of the issue. Next, or the fourth one, choose the right tool to analyze and fix the problem. Fifth will be explore solutions and alternatives that could work. Sixth would be test them using the 5 and test approach. Run a trial and adjust. And lastly, implement the final solution and track its success. And that's all. Inshallah, we have now completed the explanation of the key performance improvement tools. So next lecture, we'll go through the final quiz number 4 questions together. That ends for tonight's lecture for the data analytics part 4. Any questions so far?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, none so far.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll proceed to our final quiz number 4. Okay, question number 1. In the proportion, the difference between the two ratios 50 is to 1,000 and 375 is to 5,000 is A, 125, B, 250, C, 325, D, 4,000. So the first question is a simple math question. So nothing is complicated here. Just to solve any math question, we need to work with fractions first. So what do we do? This problem involves finding the difference between two ratios. So first is to how convert the ratios into fractions. So for 50 is to 1,000, meaning 50 divided by 1,000. That gives you how much? 1 over 20.
200.
Mm.
200.
Mm-hmm. Okay, convert the ratios into fractions. So for the 375, okay, is to 5,000, meaning this one, 375 over 5,000. That will give you 3 over 4. Okay, the first was 50 over 1,000, meaning 50 divided by 1,000. So that will give you 1 over 20. Find the common denominator to subtract the fractions. So our LCD, the least common denominator for 20 and 40 is what? 20 and 40. LCD is 40. Okay, so that will give us 2 over 40. Okay. Next will be subtract the fractions. Okay, we will do the subtraction. So 3 over 40 from here, 3 over 40 minus 2 over 40. That gives you how much? 1 over 40, right? Then convert the result back into decimal or simplified form. So 140 times 5,000. That will give you how much? 1 over 40 times 5,000. Okay, that will give us 125. So letter A is the correct answer. Okay, next will be number 2. You are preparing a report to present to the Public Health Council on the declining rates of gonorrhea in your state in both men and women over the last 10 years. Which type of graph would be illustrate the data? A, bar chart, B, histogram, C, pie chart, D, line graph. So choose the right graph for the data over time. What's the answer here? What's the answer? You are
Line
preparing a
graph.
report, huh? Line graph? Yes, that's the correct answer. Very good, Radha. Okay, here you are preparing a report to present to the Planning Council about orientation courses that haven't been held over the past year. So now anything that tracks data over time needs a, what kind of data graph? It's a continuous. Okay, so which graph should we use? It's the line chart.
Line.
Because when we say control chart, if which graph should we use? Control chart, if available. So control chart will be the best. Okay, will be the best first choice. Okay, but if control chart is not an option, then line, okay, is the best pick. Okay, don't be confused. Number 3, prior to plotting a line graph, a healthcare quality professional should first A, calculate the mean, B, define the axis measurements, C, identify the parameters, D, develop a legend. Okay, and here the question is to designing an axis for a chart. What is your answer? What is the first thing you do? What is the first thing you do when planning a data section chart? Okay, the first thing is not just identifying causes. Okay, first you need to design the, yes?
Parameters.
No, Dr.
Identify the
Gulam?
parameters.
No, Radha.
Axis
Okay.
measurement.
Okay.
Axis measurement.
Okay, Radha, the correct answer here is define the axis measurement. Yes. The first thing is not just identifying causes, okay? First is you need to design the X and Y axis. Why? Because you need, Dr. Gulam, this is the answer of your question last time. Because you need to define what is on the X axis, which can be time or categories, okay? For the Y axis, okay, these are values, percentages, okay? Is it clear now, Dr. Gulam? Radha? So then you'll determine if the data is displayed over days, months, or years in the X axis. This one came out in the examination. So the correct answer is define the axis measurement. Okay, let's proceed. Percentages of a distribution of values that are equal to or below that number are known as A, percentiles, B, quartiles, C, prevalence, D, rates. Okay, what's the answer here? Okay, the question asking here, percentage distribution of values that are equal to or less than the number. What does the question mean? The meaning of the question is that it is telling the distribution of values, which is the distribution values that are equal to or less than this number, meaning it is equal to or less than this value. So if I come to say that when we are explaining the interpercentile or interquartile, we said we want the interquartile, okay? So it is the value in the middle here. So this is the first quarter, okay, first quarter, and the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth. And when we came to say that in order to measure the interquartile, I subtract the third quarter, okay? We came to say in order to measure the interquartile, I subtract the third quarter, which is the quarter 3, minus 2, quarter 1 here, which is the first quarter. Okay? So if I call the quartile, meaning when I have the data and I divide it into 4 equal parts. First quartile, second quartile, third quartile, and fourth quartile. Then I have divided into quarters. So this is called the quartiles. Okay, this is the quartiles. Now, what does the question mean? The part that says are equal to or less than the number means that when I say the percentage of the fifth quartile, meaning it means that it expresses the values of the data at this 50th point and everything before it. So when I say the data is divided into quarters, I call it what? Quartile. When it is divided into percentages, I call it percentiles.
Percentiles.
Now, in the question, what does it says? It says percentage of distribution of values. Percentage means divided by percent, by 1%, 5%, 10%, up to 99%. So what is this called? It is called percentile. So I will not choose the quartile because I will choose the percentile. So in this question between A, B, C, and D, whichever is unrelated. So it is divided into percentile or quartiles. So in here, it is divided into percentiles.
Percentile.
Yes, so that's the correct answer. Number 5, in a trial comparing 2 drugs to treat children suffering from enuresis, the average number of dry nights was recorded in each of the 2 children groups. Which of the following statistical test is most appropriate for analyzing the results? A, chi-square test. B, paired t-test. C, student t-test. D, correlation coefficient. The question here is, which statistical test should be used to analyze the average number of dry nights per month for 4 groups? For 4 groups. What's the answer? What's the answer?
Correlation.
This is student test.
It's the student t-test. Yes, it's correct. You're correct. Okay, that's the correct answer. So, as it says here, a continuous data, so we will use the t-test. If the data is categorical, so we will use the chi-square. The keyword here is average number. So when we say average, it means mean, M-E-A-N, in the normal distribution, which means it's a continuous data. That means we need a t-test for the average. So that is the reason we need the student t-test. Okay, for the paired and versus the independent t-test. When we say paired t-test used when comparing the same group before and after treatment. Okay, usually this one can be is used in experimental research study, peer t-test. We have also the independent t-test, or the two sample t-tests used when comparing two different groups. Since we are comparing two separate groups, so the answer would be in the independent t-test. For the three samples categorical, we use the ANOVA. Okay, so the answer here will be the student t-test. Number 6, okay, a cohort study, A, often requires a long-term follow-up. B, principally relies on case reports. C, involves limited sample sizes. D, represents a systematic review of several randomized trials. What's the answer? Cohort? The study follows participants over time. What's the answer? When we say case control study, it starts with the disease, the outcome, and looks backward to find causes. I hope you could still remember my example before, looking at the lung cancer patients and investigating whether they smoked or not. What about the cohort study? It starts with exposure and follows participants over time. So for example, following smokers and non-smokers to see who develops lung cancer. So the correct answer is cohort study because it tracks subjects over time. So letter A is the correct answer. Often requires a long-term follow-up. Okay, that's the answer. Number 7, the surgery department's monthly case review revealed 10 records meeting criteria. 6 records did not meet the criteria. In calculating the incidence rate, the denominator is A, 4, B, 6, C, 10, D, 16. The question is asking for the denominator when calculating the incidence report. So the incidence rate is typically calculated as, what's the formula? Incidence rate is equals to number of new cases over total number of case reviewed times 100. So what's the answer? How many? How many new cases in the statement? Okay, so we have 10. We have 10 record. Yes, the answer is 16. Very good. Okay, 10 records met the criteria, which are the new cases and plus records that did not meet the criteria. So the denominator is the total number of cases reviewed, which is 10 plus 6 is equals to 16. That's the correct answer, 16. Okay, Radha, are you with us? Okay, number 8, the success of a customer focus group rests principally on the A, group size, B, length of meeting, C, opinions of the group, D, skill of the moderator. What determines the success of a focus group research study? What is a focus group? What is a focus group? It is a qualitative data collection method where a small group which composed of 6 to 10 people is selected, and participants share a common background or experience, like same diagnosis, same work environment. A moderator conducts interviews and discussions. What is the key factor here among the 4 for success? Is it the group size? Is it the length of meeting, opinions of the group, or skill of the moderator?
Skill of the moderator.
Very good. Radha, it's skill of the moderator, my dear, because this is the key factor. Because the skill of the moderator, their ability to facilitate discussion effectively determines the study outcome. Okay? Don't forget skill of the moderator. Number 9, which one should be included when reporting project improvement to governing body? A, team achievements. B, team minutes C, occurrence and incident reports. Okay. What is the best choice?
Team achievements.
Hmm?
A. Team achievements.
Radha?
Yeah,
What?
team achievement.
Very good. Excellent. Both of you are excellent. Yes, that's the answer. The best choice. Okay. That's the correct answer. Number 10, what can the Quality Council provide to ensure highest efficiency of a performance improvement team? A, facilitator and recorder. B, empowerment and training. C, physician sponsor and nurse team leader. D, computer software and broadband internet access. What's the answer here?
Yeah.
Why letter
Yeah.
A? Why letter A? Because the question is asking what helps ensure the effectiveness of a permanent team. This is the meaning of the question. What helps ensure the effectiveness of a permanent team? Okay.
Empowerment and training.
Yes, that's the correct answer. Because empowering team members increases productivity and problem-solving skills. When members feel responsible and engaged, they are more motivated to make decisions and contribute. So that's the reason. Number 11. Give conclusions to this graph. A, the highest length of stay is in the last quarter. Or B, it is needed to have the value of standard deviation to know if process is within control or not. What's the answer? Okay, for letter A, the explanation for this, we have a question like about the highest steady rate in the last quarter. So let's check the last quarter here, which runs from September until December. So in September, okay, the rate was low. So we have, how much is this? 3.9, okay? And
3.9.
in October, it went up from 4.9 until 5.4. What about in November? In November, it reached to 6. So in December, it dropped back to 5. Okay. Now we can say the highest steady rate was in the entire last quarter. Can we say that? Can we say the highest steady rate was in the entire last quarter? No. The highest rate was only in November.
December. No, sorry, no.
Yes, in November. Okay, so for example, December was 5 and October was 5.4. So yes, there was an increase. But November had the peak. What about explanation for letter B? Okay, now what do we need here? We need to calculate the standard deviation to check if this process is under control or not. The question here is asking, why do we need to calculate the standard deviation? You use it to determine the upper, lower control limit and the lower control limit. So this data is displayed on what? On a run chart or on a control chart? Is this a run chart or control chart? This is what? This is a run chart because you don't see here any upper control limit or lower control limit. So this is a run chart. Okay. Okay. So next, so to analyze this properly, you need to plot it on a control chart and determine the UCL, which is the 3 standard deviations above the mean. Okay, and determine the LCL, which is 3 standard deviations below the mean. So this helps us understand if the process is in control or if there's a high rate of special causes. So the answer here is what? What this run chart tells us about. It's letter
B.
Final answer. Final answer, Radha. Doc Kulam.
B.
Yes.
B?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
it is salary
Letter
driven.
A is the correct answer because this one gives us the fact. This is what the graph tells us that this in November it has November
Number
had the
plus
peak increase.
5.4.
It has a peak. So this stem
Highest
as the
loads.
true factual, okay, factual representation of the graph. Okay, so can you see here in the first place, this is not a control chart, right? Because you don't see the UCL and you don't see the lower control limit. So go back to the question, give conclusions to this graph. So the conclusion of this graph is the highest length of stay is in the last quarter. So which gives us the true representation of the data. Clear? Is this clear?
Yeah.
Doc Radha, any concern?
Yeah. No, it's okay.
You understand now, Radha?
Yes.
Okay. So, okay. Are you sure you understand well this one? Okay, because in here, in the first place, our chart is not a control chart. This is a run chart. So to analyze the letter B choice is you need to plot it on a control chart. Since our graph here is a run chart. Okay, so number 12. CEO decides to have accreditation to the hospital after 18 months. What should he do? Okay. A, communicate accreditation process to all staff. B, hire external quality expert to give lectures. B, make monthly newsletter.
A.
Yes, it's letter A. Very good. Communicate accreditation process to all staff because this establish clear communication procedures. Very good. Number 13. Hospital using computer software, patient weight recorded by mistake higher than the actual weight. That reflect on medication dose become 10 times the original dose. Nurse noticed this error before administering the medication to the patient. Quality professionals should consider this type of mistake as a sentinel event, be near miss, C claim.
Near miss.
Near miss.
Very good. Okay. Okay, number 14. Number 14, the key practical impetus for JCI accredited healthcare organizations to focus on ongoing compliance with standards is A, the long-term cost savings, B, the attention given to patient safety by the media, C, the coming unannounced triennial surveys, D, the increase in malpractice suits. What's the answer here? So one of the key factors in ensuring continuous compliance with standard is the
unannounced triennial survey.
yes, the presence of unannounced visits by regulatory bodies. So which is letter C, the coming unannounced triennial surveys. Because if non-compliance is found, it results in penalties and higher costs, right? So this forces the organization to maintain a continuous compliance rather than just preparing for the scheduled audits. Okay, number 15. Which of the following is not a part of, which of the following is not one of Joint Commission International Patient Safety Goals? A, prevent healthcare associated pressure ulcers. B, ensure correct site, correct procedure, correct patient surgery. C, improve effective communication. D, reduce the risk of healthcare associated infection. What's the answer? Letter A. Very good. Excellent. Tamam. So what's the goal of, okay, letter A. reduce the risk of healthcare associated pressure ulcer is not included in the patient safety goals. Tamam. Number 16, which of the following statements about unannounced surveys by the Joint Commission is true? So, okay, letter A primary goal of unannounced survey is to detect evidence of non-compliance. B, unannounced surveys include initial surveys. C, unannounced surveys reduce the unnecessary cost associated with survey preparation. D, an organization may undergo an unannounced survey between 12 and 24 months after its previous survey.
C.
Letter
C.
Radha. C.
C.
Excellent. What's the goal of unannounced visits by regulatory bodies? Some might say it's to detect non-compliance, but this is incorrect, okay? Because the real goal is to ensure ongoing compliance with standards and procedures. And this also prevent crisis management and just-in-time preparation. And actually, for your information, there are two approaches. So we have just-in-time compliance and the ongoing compliance. When we say just-in-time compliance, organization focus on compliance only during scheduled assessments. And right before accreditation, they rush to meet requirements. This increases the cost and stress. So sometimes requiring overtime work or external consultants. What about the ongoing compliance? Organizations maintain continuous adherence to standards and they avoid sudden last-minute efforts and save costs in the long run. So the primary goal of unannounced visit is not to detect non-compliance, but to ensure that compliance is always maintained. Okay, number 17. Reappointment or recredentialing a hospital accredited by the JCI should be conducted A, annually or more frequently, B, every 2 years or more frequently, C, every 3 years or more frequently, D, on an ongoing basis.
C.
It's a letter,
C.
Radha?
C.
B?
C.
C. Excellent. C. So let's look at the reappointment process in the healthcare organizations, okay? How often does JCI accreditation require reevaluation? Every 3 years. Yes, very good. If a healthcare organization is undergoing accreditation, but JCI is not mentioned, how often should it be reviewed? Every how many years? Every 2 years as per general healthcare policies. So in an exam, if JCI is mentioned, choose
3.
very good. If JCI is not mentioned, choose
2.
Very
But this is an
good.
international exam. I think they will not mention
Yes.
others. Yeah.
Oh, this one came out in my exam, in the set of my exam. So choose 2 years. Okay? Dokulam and Radha, if JCI is
Yes.
mentioned, choose 3 years. If JCI is not mentioned, choose 2 years. Tamam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
question they mentioned in your question? Except
This
JCI?
one for how many years if JCI is not mentioned?
What I'm in this question, what is not mentioned apart from JCI? Because sorry, okay, next we'll go to next.
Okay, so for the managed care organizations like the insurance companies, the review period is always 3 years. Okay, for the MCO, like the insurance, the review period is always 3 years. Number 18, Joint Commission surveyors review organizations A, medical records, B, income taxes, C, credit worthiness, D, physician's PDA.
A, medical records.
Okay, Radha?
Yes, medical records.
Very good. Okay. So it's always we look at the medical records. So other agencies like the tax authorities do not play a role in the healthcare accreditation. For number 19, what happened right after a joint commission or accredited hospital experience a sentinel event? A, an award is presented to administrators. B, a root cause analysis is performed. C, immediate re-accreditation is required. D, performance improvement measures are implemented. What happens after accreditation?
Root cause analysis performed.
Aywa. Letter B. Excellent. So once an organization receives accreditations, what's the next step? Is to conduct a root cause analysis to assess area of improvement. Okay, number 20. To which of the following agencies services would the JCI accreditation program for home healthcare not be applicable? A, private duty nursing agencies. B, high technology services. C, public health agencies. And D, hospital-based home health agency.
C, public health agencies.
Okay, Radha?
Yes, public health agencies.
Okay, yes, that's the correct answer. Which of the following is not covered under JCI home care accreditation standards? So possible options are hospital-based home care services, rehabilitation technology services, and private nursing agencies. So the correct answer here is this letter C, and this is not included in the home care accreditation standards. Okay, so that ends our final quiz number 4 tonight. If you have any question and doubts, please, you can raise it up here.
Thank you.
So well understood tonight's lecture. Okay. Next week, inshallah, will be the cases for the data analytics and the final quiz number 5. And we'll start with our revision 1. Inshallah.
Thank you so much. Tomorrow we do not have anything. Do we have tomorrow anything?
Oh, yes. I was thinking it's Tuesday today. That will be tomorrow then. I'm sorry. I'm lost in the world. Okay, that will be tomorrow, inshallah. Cases and final quiz number 5.
Okay, thank you.
Inshallah. Thank you. So if none so far, thank you for tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.